Representative Mastrofrancesco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you giving me this time, and thank you both for coming here today, giving us your presentation. I know a lot of discussion today has been around the audits, and the audits are very important for the trust to prove to the public that things are being run in a proper way. It's really the only thing that they have to assure them that government is working efficiently. So if I'm understanding this correctly, we have our auditors of public accounts, which I think does a great job. You have your internal audit here. And then we also have, I was just curious if, since OPM, when they took over the project, do you know if they did an internal audit themselves as well?
So thank you, Representative, for the question. So the audit program was housed, the internal audit program was housed at OPM, and that was part of the school construction program. When we brought back the program to DAS, we also took back the audit unit as well for school construction. We put it into our business office to separate out the audit program versus the programmatic functions of the school construction program. So there are two distinct and independent functions with different reporting structures through different directors and then through my chain of command as well.
So if I understand you correctly, so the OPM, they did do an audit on the school construction projects, and then you took it over and you did an audit as well. Is that correct?
So it's my understanding that the audit unit at OPM was part of the school construction program. The chain of command was through the director of the program. When we took it back to this agency, we separated out the audit functions versus the program functions so that the audit staff reports to a different director than how it was proposed or how it functioned at OPM. So we've just changed the structure of the audits, to ensure their independence and authority.
Right. But my question was, do you know when OPM had the project, when they were when it was under their guidance, did they do an audit?
I do not know. I could speculate that I assume that is what their audit staff did, but I'm not aware of the particulars of that operation. I assume that, again, that was their role, that was their job. But we can certainly get back to you with information, or certainly those questions could be directed, to OPM.
So I'm just curious if they had done an audit, or if they had not. Well, you're thinking they possibly could have. That when your department took over the audit, I would assume that your department would look into their audit. Maybe let me dive deeper. So if you're not aware if they did an audit, what is different about your audit? I know you work with the auditor of public accounts. So what kind of a deep dive did you do into the audit if you did not know, or you do not have the audit that was done by OPM, or even if they did do it?
So I would have to talk with our CFO about how those processes transferred over, since October. Certainly our business office has been reviewing those records. And then moving forward, looking at just the standard audits that we need to do with active and ongoing projects. So there are a number of audit functions that our audit team is performing now. And part of why we wanted to bring in this external audit team is to do an audit of the audits that took place from 2018 through present, or really through the December, January timeframe of 2021. Again, to ensure that those audits were done with full transparency, that there are no issues with that audit process. But given that, we are indeed reviewing the audits of the audit, it seems to speak that there were indeed audits done throughout that time frame. But that's what that external will assure us of both the process and then the quality of those audits as well.
Right, and I understand that. What I'm trying to get through here is how does it fall through the cracks? So the auditors of public accounts, they did their audit. You mentioned earlier in your presentation that you work hand in hand with them, and I think they do a great job. Mm-hmm. what specific type of information were you looking for different than what they were providing? Because obviously the audit of public accounts, there's only so much information they're going to give. So you did a deeper dive, I'm assuming, into the audit. Can you just kind of elaborate what's different from your findings than theirs?
30 seconds, please, Summary.
So I will have to get back to you in terms of the specifics of that. We have just started the work over the last few months of reviewing the records and the audits that came back to DAS since the fall. And I do want to clarify that OPM should have embedded auditors of public accounts, at their agency, as does DAS. So again, those records are available, to you and to other members of the public as well. Regarding, the auditing functions that were housed at OPM, just as they are at DAS. So I hope that answers part of your question, but we can certainly get more of a specifics in terms of how our audits are being conducted versus what happened at OPM. But again, that external audit process, want to understand that all processes and procedures are followed, whether it was at OPM, moving forward to the DAS audits that are being taken, being conducted moving forward.
I appreciate that. I just, Mr. Chairman, I'll be done in 1 minute, I promise. I just have one further question. The reason why I'm asking is because where it's concerning who dropped the ball. If OPM was supposed to do an audit, now you're doing an audit, but didn't have any communication with them on what they did. So how do you know, what are you looking for? What did they do wrong that you're trying to pick up? Because audits can be very subjective based on one's interpretation of the standards. So I'm curious as to what assurances the public will have going forward now that we have an external audit that's going to be done to give the public confidence. We have the auditors of public accountants, another audit. We have OPM doing an audit. We have you doing an audit. There's a breakdown in the audits within the state of Connecticut. Now you have an external audit being done. And again, as I said, they're subjective based on one's the opinion of what the standards are. So I would like to know what will be done to improve the confidence of the people in the state of Connecticut after this audit is done.
I'm sorry to jump in, Representative. Just to be clear, we are hiring an outside auditing company to audit the audits that were performed by OPM. Does that answer your question? So
I thought they were going to do the external audit on the OPM. Okay, I didn't know that, but also on your audit and the audit of public accounts.
Yeah, so we're hiring the outside auditors to audit all of the internal audits performed by the Office of OSCGR from when it went over to OPM to when we took it back over again.
Okay, but you're not sure what their audit was because you didn't coordinate them. Okay, perfect. If you wouldn't mind can you get that information to me?
As soon as it's finished. Yeah, it'll take a little while, but yes, we will, of course.
I mean the existing audit that was done by OPM. We have that?
So that would probably be available through the auditors of public accounts in terms of the audits that they did at OPM. But we're happy to help facilitate that with the auditors if helpful.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you giving me the extra minute or so. Thank you.